Skies of Deception, the U-2 spy plane incident and Cold War intrigues. In the clandestine realm of Cold War espionage, few incidents rival the intrigue and diplomatic fallout of the U-2 spy plane episode. This video embarks on a journey through the turbulent skies of the Cold War. Exploring the U-2 program's origins, the fateful flight of Francis Gary Powers, and the reverberations that echoed from the halls of power to the vast landscapes of international relations. The U-2 spy plane, a high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft, was the brainchild of the legendary aircraft designer Clarence Kelly Johnson. Conceived in utmost secrecy during the 1950s, the U-2 was designed to fly at altitudes beyond the reach of Soviet air defenses, capturing high-resolution images of strategic military installations. Its sleek, glider-like silhouette and cutting-edge technology made it an indispensable asset for American intelligence. The early years of the U-2 program unfolded against the backdrop of escalating Cold War tensions. The United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a perilous dance of espionage, each side striving to gain a strategic advantage. As the US and the USSR teetered on the brink of nuclear confrontation, the U-2 became a crucial instrument for monitoring Soviet military activities and assessing the nuclear threat. The first movement in the Symphony of Deception occurred on July 4, 1956, when the U-2 made its maiden flight. The aircraft's capabilities exceeded expectations, soaring to altitudes of over 70,000 feet, far beyond the reach of Soviet interceptors and surface-to-air missiles. This initial success emboldened American intelligence agencies to expand the U-2 reconnaissance program. The plot thickened as the U-2 flights penetrated deeper into Soviet airspace. On May 1, 1960, the orchestration of Cold War espionage reached a climax with the ill-fated flight of Francis Gary Powers. Operating under the Central Intelligence Agency, Powers embarked on a reconnaissance mission over Soviet territory. Unbeknownst to him, the Soviet Union had developed sophisticated surface-to-air missiles capable of reaching the U-2's stratospheric cruising altitude. As Powers soared through the Soviet skies, disaster struck. A Soviet SA-2 missile locked onto the U-2, bringing it down near Sverdlovsk. The fallout from this incident rippled through the diplomatic corridors, plunging US-Soviet relations into a deep freeze. Initially denying any knowledge of the downed plane, the Soviet Union was forced to reveal the capture of Powers and the intact wreckage of the U-2, providing undeniable evidence of American espionage. The incident heightened Cold War tensions, unraveling the fragile threads of détente that had been delicately woven. Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev seized the opportunity to denounce the United States, dealing a blow to the diplomatic efforts aimed at easing Cold War hostilities. The U-2 affair became a focal point of the Paris summit scheduled for later that month, leading to its dramatic collapse. A dramatic subplot unfolded on the home front as well. The Eisenhower administration, caught in a web of secrecy, initially claimed that the U-2 was a weather research aircraft that had veered off course. However, Khrushchev's revelations shattered this facade, forcing President Dwight D. Eisenhower to admit the true nature of the mission. The episode dealt a severe blow to US credibility and exacerbated existing suspicions between the superpowers. Against this backdrop, Rudolf Abel, a Soviet intelligence officer operating in the United States, was arrested by the FBI in 1957. Abel's arrest and subsequent trial added another layer of intrigue to the Cold War narrative. As an exchange for Powers, Abel was swapped for American U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers on the Glienicke Bridge in Berlin in 1962. This exchange, conducted with a cinematic flair, became a symbol of the human chess game played out between the superpowers. The U-2 incident left an indelible mark on Cold War history, altering the dynamics of espionage and diplomacy. It led to a suspension of U-2 flights over Soviet territory and accelerated the development of high-altitude reconnaissance satellites. The incident also fueled the arms race, intensifying the quest for technological superiority between the United States and the Soviet Union. The U-2 spy plane incident stands as a riveting chapter in the annals of the Cold War. The aerial ballet between the superpowers, played out at the edge of the stratosphere, underscored the precarious balance of power and the lengths to which nations would go to gain a strategic advantage. The fallout from Power's ill-fated flight reverberated through diplomatic circles, leaving an enduring legacy of mistrust and shaping the trajectory of Cold War geopolitics.